Hello, I'm Andrew, and this is my Series 3 of the weekly podcasts 50 Ways to Succeed at Work. These podcasts build confidence and know-how. Consequently, they can help you achieve happiness at work. By the way, that's also the title of my book, available at Amazon and from the book's website, My Happiness at Work. Now for today's episode in Series 3. Today I want to talk about something called executive presence plus storytelling and how they can make you a winner. It's one thing to feel you can do your boss's job, another to bid for it against tough competition. If you're in a job and your boss is due to leave, could you take over and succeed? What do you need to have a crack at this coveted crown? There are hidden tripwires that prevent aspiring candidates like you from getting your next level up job. The first tripwire is lack of something called executive presence. This is an ability to convey valued leadership talents. The second tripwire you might encounter is your intent. That is, how seriously do you want the boss's job? Let's take Megan, for example. She's a real person, though that's not her name for this particular podcast. She works in a financial services company that tracks and reports on its clients' transactions. The customers are mainly high-powered investment managers. In the trade, she's well thought of, but now her boss is leaving, and the most fundamental question facing Megan is, what do I want and why? Clarifying this may justify her obtaining a mentoring and coaching session with a colleague. Megan realizes that knowing her intent will take a while and some careful thinking. A second important question for Megan, and maybe for you too, is what do those appointing the boss's replacement actually want? Answering this question may be more challenging than the first. To answer it, Megan may have to be brave and seek time with those involved in the appointment. She needs to handle this carefully. For example, avoid appearing to be lobbying for the role. Instead, it may be easier to ask in a spirit of inquiry, what do people expect from the role? Finally, Megan must resolve one more question. How best to share my vision for the organisation if I'm appointed to my boss's role? Being interviewed assumes that she can do it. However, she needs to think about the bigger picture and how to convey her vision of it. This version may be the same as the appointers, but what precisely do they want, and what impact do they want her to make within the organisation? There's some valuable recent research about the importance of these in showing executive presence. Call it leadership if you wish, but it's about showing how you as a leader think, act, and come across. Any experienced actor immediately recognizes executive presence as how I come across in my part. In other words, how do you convey the essence of your character, and what does that character most desire to achieve? More research confirms that Megan must demonstrate her senior presence through three things: gravitas, communication impact, and general appearance. All three of these have altered their importance and role in making senior appointments. Let me give you an example. Integrity once carried significant weight as part of executive presence. More recently, though, this has lost out in favour of an ability to show respect for others. So, focusing on integrity in your interview could be less valuable than stressing inclusiveness and respect for others. In showing executive presence, the importance of good communication skills continues to be much like before. Similarly, superior speaking skills and command of a room have remained high on the desired list. On the other hand, your ability to read an audience using body language has definitely grown in importance in recent years. These requirements suggest what you should do to demonstrate your power to communicate, not just talk the talk, but to be good at storytelling. Do you know the difference between presenting and storytelling? Well, storytelling is critical to a leader's presence and ability to engage and move an audience to action. If you thrive on presentations, storytelling is probably not on your agenda. You may prefer to do what sounds logical, so you rely on opening slideware or some other technology. However, presentation programs seldom cut it. Presenters love bullet points to get across their message. In contrast, storytellers love vivid tales, perhaps linking words and pictures. Their story usually has a theme, attention-grabbing moments, heroes and villains, and a satisfying conclusion. Frankly, nicely designed slides, for example, seldom replace a well-told tale. Let me give you an example. One of the best storytelling executives is former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. To describe the company's history and mission, he regularly relied on his rags to riches story as a starting point. For example, seeing his father injured and unable to work inspired Schultz to launch a company that cared for its workers and provide them with benefits like insurance and adequate time off. By inserting his business goals into a personal story about his values, Schultz made his corporate mission understandable to anyone listening. Or take Brian Chesky, the co-founder and CEO of Airbnb. When he launched the company, a service allowing customers to book tours and experiences, he didn't just present the features. Instead, Chesky wove a compelling story, inspired by Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. He shared childhood photos and memories, creating an intimate connection with the audience. He emphasized that Airbnb wasn't just about accommodation, but creating magical experiences. Or take Donna Carpenter, Burton's CEO. She was particularly sensitive to the lack of gender diversity within her company. In a pivotal moment, Donna realized that change was necessary. Her leadership in telling the diversity story transformed the company, with over 40% of leadership positions held by women and half within the management team. These CEOs, Schultz, Chesky, and Donna, demonstrate that storytelling isn't just about facts. It's about creating emotional connections and driving meaningful change. Combining a robust executive presence plus powerful storytelling can help Megan, and maybe you too, to bid for the boss's job. So let's sum up what bidding for your boss's job demands. First, answer those 3 questions. What do I want? What do those making the appointment want? And how best can I share my vision for the organization? Having answered these, hone your executive presence and work on your storytelling to convey your intent. You've been listening to an episode of Series 3 of my weekly podcast, 50 Ways to Succeed at Work. You can hear the other podcasts at the 50ways.site. That's 50.site. There are nearly 100 titles, and you can search for any issue that interests you. If you have any questions, you can always drop me a line from there. Also, check out my book, Happiness at Work. It's packed with great stories, compelling advice, and suggestions for tackling real issues that you can encounter at work. It's at Amazon or at the book's website, myhappinessatwork.com. There's also an audio version if you prefer listening. Join me next week for another unmissable episode in Series 3. Bye for now.